Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. I always say we have a special one here, but we do really have a special interview here today. This gentleman right here has been in law enforcement for a very long time, 28 years with the Maryland State Police.
And 11 here, so
And 11?
coming up on 40.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much more you got in the tank?
Well, at least hopefully, if the voters agree, one more term. That's the plan.
One more. Okay, good. Elected in 2014, you lead 684, according to the website.
Sure.
Deputies, correctional people, as well as service to the courts, all through Harford County. You're just somebody that I really wanted to get on the podcast. I've follow you personally on Facebook, but I also have seen how you've handled leadership situations throughout the past couple of years as well.
Well, I appreciate that very kind intro and the invitation to come on. I'm honored to be able to serve in this role, and the men and women that I work with every day. Made no secret, love my state police career. 28 years there. You don't do something for 28 years unless you have a passion for it.
Yes.
And I don't say anything derogatory when saying it, but to a man, to a woman, this is a great organization, the Harford County Sheriff's Office, and the men and women that go out there and serve our citizens every day. And I'm honored to work with them every day.
Absolutely. So how did it, for you, going back to your younger years as a young man, what got you into law enforcement?
Well, the funny thing is, I was always interested in the law enforcement career, and of course, the state troopers. I'm short, only 5'9". The big 6'2". Maybe I'll get there one day. Not underground 6 foot, but maybe I'll grow. But the tall, trooper, square jaw, the Stetson pulled down over the eye, and just that image was something that sold me back in my high school days. So coming out of high school, I applied to the state police. And was lucky enough to be hired on my second time through the process as a cadet.
Okay.
Did that for a couple of years before becoming of age to go to the academy. So that, again, just early in life, I was interested in law enforcement. And the state police at that time seemed like the pinnacle of of service in this state if you're going to be a law enforcement officer. So that's where I did my first 28 years. But during those 28 years, rising up through the ranks, and funny enough, I told my interview board I never wanted to get promoted. I wanted to be a trooper my entire career.
Okay.
I wasn't worried about supervision or command. I was just happy to do my job to the best of my abilities, and that was my intent at the time. But over the years, I ascended through the ranks, becoming a captain. But through all those ranks, 17 years here, being the para commander several times, working hand in hand with the men and women of the Harford County Sheriff's Office, I had great respect for this agency. Thought I had a good understanding of what the role of sheriff entailed in the county.
Okay.
I learned quickly after being elected. I was very naive on what the role of sheriff is. But I ran in 10 unsuccessfully. We nearly pulled that off, but then came back and ran again in 14, and was overwhelmingly elected and have been serving since.
Wow. So you got to the position of captain with the Maryland State Police. That's as high as you guys went there, and then
as captain, I was a troop commander. I had 3 counties, Harford being one of them, Harford, Cecil, and Carroll. So 3 full service barracks, very busy, 200 men and women that I supervised. But again, here we're just under 700. We should be more than 700 if we were fully staffed, appropriately staffed, in my opinion. But we're the largest sheriff's office in the state. But it's not just law enforcement. It's corrections, it's court security, it's civil process, and it's animal control. It's it's a busy agency filled with, again, great men and women.
Yeah, absolutely. So you did talk about, you had a false representation of what the job entailed.
Sure.
What were some of those challenges as you were going up through being the sheriff of our county?
Well, I got to say, I looked at it, again, having, as a troop captain for the state police, having 3 counties, a large geographic area, a whole bunch of troopers, full service barracks that responded to, burglaries, rapes, robberies, homicides, and, did a lot of traffic enforcement. I looked at it kind of being on par. It's captain of state police is probably on par with a sheriff in Harford County. And I had someone who helped me on the campaign that said, "Jeff, you have no idea what you're talking about." So I tell our Citizens Police Academy, well, of course we run once a year, I tell them that story about having no idea. So once I was elected, I got a crash course on corrections, which is our second biggest aspect of the office behind law enforcement.
Right.
I got a crash course on that. My biggest exposure to corrections in the Harford County Detention Center before was pulling up there with the prisoner, walking them into booking, and then turning them over and then walking back out the door, a 5-minute visit to the jail. What happens at our jail, the men and women who work there, both in keeping our community safe, keeping people, criminals locked up, but amongst those criminals are a lot of people, mental health, substance abuse, and just there's people who shouldn't be in jail that the courts have put there on the mental health front. They're just, the courts will say they're not criminally responsible. The state won't take them, but we have them. Right. So all the challenges, these people are in our care and custody, and we work on programs, we work on rehabilitation. We don't want them back. We want to send them out the door better than they came in.
Sure.
So that they don't reoffend and come back in. So they do so much more than just put a person, the thought process is we put somebody in a jail cell, lock the door, and walk away. That is not at all what happens up there, and it's amazing the job that the men and women do in that part of the office.
In your estimation, would you say that there are more people that are rehabilitated than aren't, or
no,
you would say that there are more people that aren't? Yeah,
there's more that aren't. There, certainly the general rule, and I want to say, and the warden is going to yell at me for this, but 65-70% recidivism rate. We can, when we let them out, we can expect them back.
Yeah.
And that's not true of everybody, and we do have success stories. So, again, if you can save one, you save one. If you can save 10, you save 10.
It's like the starfish that are all covering the beach. If you just throw one back, you saved at least one.
Right.
Yeah. Being a leader, what would you say are some of the parallels of leadership that you have learned over these past several years that parallel with people that are in the business community or anything like that?
Well, I'd certainly say one of my big things, I went back to school. I didn't get my college education right away. I got hired by state police when I was 18. So I didn't go to school right away. I worked getting my education, and then I signed up for something called the Police Executive Leadership Program at Johns Hopkins, where I got my bachelor's and my master's. And that's, we covered so many different leadership styles, philosophies, concepts, and you take what you think is good and you take what you think is bad, throw it away.
Yeah.
And I'm a conglomeration, I guess, of all those years of the state police and what I've learned and experience, of course, as we all are. I think my strong suit, if I want to pat myself on the back, is that I've surrounded myself with people who are not afraid and who are very open to tell me, their opinion, which...
That's awesome.
And I think that's in the business community.
You definitely need that.
You need people to have opposing points of view, different perspectives, because if you run a world where you think you're right all the time, or an agency, you're not going to be successful.
Yeah.
And I think, Christy's here with me today. I can't tell you how many times she has talked me down off of a ledge where I've wanted to take one certain direction.
Yeah.
And she said, well, Sheriff, maybe this isn't the best thing,
Right.
My wife would put it in more blunt terms, but Christy puts it in very professional terms and talks me down and sends me in a different direction. And that's true of all my command. But the majors, the captains, they serve at the pleasure of the sheriff. And I don't have any commanders who are not free to tell me that they disagree. Ultimately, the decision comes down to mine, and we move in one direction as an agency.
Yes.
I think surrounding yourself with good people. We have leaders, and I think we have leaders here in the county who don't recognize that it's important to do that, to have those different perspectives.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing they would have to fear would be not to be a yes person, because then they wouldn't stay in that role.
Yeah.
And I think the people who have sought promotion under my last 11 years are the people, again, who understand that that's important to me. That,
sure.
You're going to tell me what you think, what your perspective is, because my wife says I'm right all the time, but it can't be the case. She doesn't say that.
Let's get her on the phone right now. Drew, put her on the phone.
That was not true.
So certainly you're a learner, and leaders are readers. Is there a book or a podcast that just kind of jumps out at you, like that really kind of helped you become the leader that you are?
We read so many as part of going through Hopkins and through that police executive leadership program. We read so many different leadership books, and some of the simple ones are just. There was a book called "If You Want It Done Right, You Don't Have to Do It Yourself," and it tells the story of two twin brothers who one's very successful and he delegates well, and he you can delegate the job, but you can't delegate responsibility, and he keeps checks on it, and how he goes through his life, and the other brother is just a mess, and wondering why his brother has all this free time and is not so overwhelmed and all this stuff. That's a great little reader. The 1 Minute Manager.
Okay.
Stephen Covey did the 7 Habits
of highly effective people.
Yeah, putting the right people on the bus, and not only putting the right people on the bus, but putting the people on the bus in the right seats on the bus.
Yeah.
So it's a leadership, example of, you can have great people, but if you don't put them where they're going to be optimal in service, you're doing a disservice.
Yeah.
So I like to think that those are things, obviously, that have stuck in my head because I finished that program in 2007, nearly 20 years ago.
Sure.
And it's still in my head here today.
There you go. That's awesome. As you look at the public and the citizens of the county, what do you think is their biggest misunderstanding of what you and the office do? Maybe they're just not getting, or they just don't see it. Like something happens, and of course everybody's got their opinion on social media. What do you think is the biggest overall misunderstanding of what people think about what you guys are doing?
Well, I'll start with it. We serve an amazing county. There's no other county in this state where I'd want to do this job, because our citizens are so supportive of the job our men and women do. Law enforcement, across the spectrum, law enforcement, corrections, civil process, animal control. No matter what we do, and we've done 2 surveys post George Floyd, to look at the community support, not just for us, but in partnership with and our allied agencies, Bel Air, Aberdeen, Havre de Grace police departments. And our ratings are such that an independent survey company said, we've never seen results like this anywhere in the country before.
I saw you posted something like that on social media. It was like a very large approval rating.
Oh, yeah, 85, 90%.
Really good.
In those ranges for different questions, which is just unmatched. And again, so there's going to be naysayers. There's going to be people who second guess. But I think that's at an absolute minimum here. I believe in transparency. Christy's, again, she heads up our social media. We put information out there, even if it's not complimentary to the sheriff's office. We've had incidents where we've had to fire people from the sheriff's office for some pretty bad incidents.
Yeah.
We don't hide from that. We stand up and we are as transparent as can be. And I think that's also important, being a leader, that you don't hide the bad news and it sneaks out later, because it's always going to get out.
Yeah, right.
So,
right.
You don't hide from it, but we enjoy great community support here. What I would like the county to do, we run a Citizens Police Academy once a year, and then Harford Leadership runs a program through the college, the Harford Leadership Program. And they come in, they tour the jail, they get to tour the precinct, they get to see different things. Although our Virtra use of force simulator's out of service now, it's broke beyond really. Hopefully we can find some money in the county to replace it. They didn't find any money for us last year.
Okay.
But I would love to run 268,000 people through that use of force simulator to see what a deputy might encounter in a split-second decision, what that looks like in real time. At the jail, I'd like to have 268,000 people walk through the jail to see what a great facility that is, how clean it is, how professional it is, and how well the inmates' needs are cared for.
Right.
It doesn't mean terrible things don't happen there.
Yes.
We've had a deputy beat within an inch of his life not all that long ago by an inmate. We've also had inmates take their own lives in the facility. Bad things are going to happen in good places. But overall, what I'd like them to have that understanding that I didn't have when I ran for this job.
Yeah.
So it's a hard thing where you say, I didn't know what all was involved and I ran for the job twice. But I would like our citizens, anything that we can do to educate our citizens better on the great job that the men and women do and the full function. When we get the reviews back from Harford Leadership and our Citizens Police Academy, usually it's, I had no idea that the sheriff's office was involved in this many aspects of what happens in our county.
What a great opportunity for people. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, when something goes out on social media, I think it's kind of like a double-edged sword where it's, in one aspect, people have to understand that this is still under investigation.
Sure.
And the fact that it's in that public view could sway that investigation and maybe help somebody out that shouldn't be doing what they're doing or whatever. But then probably there's some times where citizens have something that helps you in that situation when it's on social media too. So
absolutely. We have 105,000 followers on our Facebook page and others, through our other social media outlets. And citizens are great. We just had a missing person the other day, and it had like 1.2 thousand shares. And she was found successfully unharmed. But 1.2 thousand shares, that many extra eyes out there looking for this person, it's important. And when we have those kind of missing person cases, that's the norm. It's not. It wasn't an exception. But like in the Rachel Morin case, there's things we could share, there's things we weren't going to share at certain points. But I think, and we've been complimented many times, Christy's done some presentations, going to be doing more in the future on how we handled that from a media standpoint. Messages from me as the sheriff of the county, as the lead investigating agency, what we could say, when we could say it.
Right.
But obviously at those different times, we knew some things that were in the works that we couldn't speak about.
Absolutely.
And some people want to be just, professional critics, and they go on and, they pitch some things and some conspiracy theories, which are all nonsense. But, First Amendment, freedom of speech.
Yeah.
If they want to keep it clean, non-profane, and obey, the rules of the page, it gets to stay up there.
Right. Wow. Yeah. And I guess you don't get into that conversation with people over social
If
media.
I do, usually Christy gets mad at me.
Can he lose it sometimes?
Yeah. I don't think I've lost it unprofessionally, but
Okay.
I have responded to a few where I try to make the facts clear when maybe they're not.
Yeah. So talking about crime in Harford County, and we had a little bit of discussion before we actually started recording, but what are some crime stats that either they're going up, they're going down, that you feel like the community could learn something from?
Well, certainly, and I doubt this comes as a surprise to many. We are getting inundated with auto thefts, and particularly Hyundais and Kias. There's videos out there. There's a particular defect that makes those vehicles very easy to steal. There's YouTube videos apparently where people are watching, and it's juveniles. The Maryland legislature changed the juvenile laws a couple of years ago. We can't interrogate. They don't want anybody incarcerated. They don't want anybody held. So the kids, the juveniles, know there's limited or no repercussions if they should get caught.
Sure, yeah.
And they're out there stealing like mad. It was particularly bad about a year ago. There was a lot of things in the news with Secretary Ciraldi, who Governor Moore ultimately fired because the juvenile issue was so bad.
Yeah.
And really, I didn't agree with his policies, but certainly a scapegoat for what Maryland's legislature did by changing the law. But again, we had a little lull, it seemed, and now they're back full force. Recently, our auto thefts are up something like 260%. Wow. 65% of the cars being stolen. And it's joyriding. They're stealing these cars. They're engaging in, when we do find them, they're engaging in. There was one last night. We chased it on Tollgate Road for a short period of time. But chases are inherently dangerous. So
sure.
we are going to, 99% of the time, break off the chase if we don't have to. We had the case a couple weeks ago with the big truck that one of our deputies was almost killed deploying stop sticks. Chases are dangerous, so we don't like them. But we want to catch people accountable. There's probably no bigger investment that a citizen's going to make behind their house than their car.
Yeah,
and that's how they support paying for their house, their families, getting to and from work, and to come out and find a $30,000, $50,000, $70,000 piece of equipment is gone.
Yeah,
really impacts just for the sake of somebody being allowed to joyride and knowing that the police aren't going to chase, or at least aren't going to pursue for long.
Yeah, I guess one of the biggest preventions is as simple as getting like one of those club type things that blocks the steering wheel from being able to be manipulated.
Yes, for those particular Kias and Hyundais that are being stolen, my youngest daughter has one of those cars, and she has the lock. We have run several events where we get them through a grant, and we hand them out through our community policing unit. We advertise that on our social media, so if you don't follow us, follow Harford County Sheriff's Office on Facebook or Twitter or whatever else. It's not Twitter anymore. I'm old. X.
It's X.
Yes,
sir.
Instagram, but we'll advertise those.
But you're doing pretty good with this social media stuff.
I know it a little bit. They keep me up. They keep me up to speed.
Yeah.
And being a politician, I do have to maintain my own. It's not 105,000 followers, but I still try to keep it interesting with some personal stuff and some political stuff.
I think most people know that you are a big fan of Jeeps.
Yes.
And both you and your wife are.
Something I found late in life. I wish I would have found it earlier in life.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good outlet, I guess, for
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
My wife spends at Amazon. I spend at the Jeep store.
Yeah. How about when it comes to mental health and the deputies and the other employees of the county? What's something that the public should understand as far as what deputies are facing and what and what's being done to help them in their mental health?
Oh, certainly we have. I've seen things over 40 years that I'm not going to unsee. They're in my head, and every police officer, and this goes for corrections as well. They're going to see they're going to see things that are going to stick with them, and how that impacts you is going to be differently. And so we have programs. We have through the county emergency action, emergency assistance, where they can reach out and talk to people, or even get in-person assistance if they're having problems dealing with something, mentally. And then we have our own in-house critical incident stress management team if we're coming off the tail end of an incident, just like with Lieutenant Burgess being hit the other day and almost killed. Our SISM team was quick to reach out to make sure that if there were any deputies that were feeling anxious or just wanted to talk to somebody, that resource is there for them.
Yeah.
So we can direct them down a professional path, or just an in-house things with trained deputies to know that they're human beings. And that's what I hope the public realizes. I think something we often lose sight of when you see, this police officer died here today, this police officer died here today. These are human beings, and they have friends and family. Yeah. And there are people who are greatly, you work with somebody for a long time, you're impacted. Whether you realize it or not, you're impacted by that loss.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the courage that it takes alone for somebody to run into the fire basically anytime you're seeking a criminal, you're seeing them when their worst day.
Sure.
And going into a situation like that, there's got to be just a level of stress, that...
well, absolutely. It's a stressful job, and people think that we resisted like body cameras. I think the body cameras, I think our men and women, we love the body cameras, but it gives us another opportunity to show that the incredible job that is being done.
Yeah.
And it's funny, they were brought about to find, just like the in-car cameras back in the 90s, if you put in-car cameras in police cars, you were going to see how bad these cops were, and it was going to uncover how unjust the whole thing is. And it showed completely the opposite.
Yeah.
It showed that they're out there doing a great job and putting good cases together, putting bad guys in jail. So the thinking of those who were anti-police was, well, that's the in-car camera's not showing it, so we got to put the body camera on. And it showed the exact same thing. They expected a different result. They got the exact same result. It shows the great job that our men and women do across this country every day. And there's no other profession that you can put a body camera on, maybe real estate, but I got to say, there is no other profession.
So, because there has been over the past few years some stigmas that police are bad and they're not doing their job right or whatever. How do you guys go about keeping your guys motivated that, hey, you guys are doing a phenomenal job?
Well, I think first and foremost, and we meet, we're the largest sheriff's office in the state of Maryland, but we're not so large where I can't meet with our new employees on their first day. If I'm available, if I'm not, then the first day I am available after. I meet with every man and woman that's hired, whether it's a civilian, whether it's sworn law enforcement or sworn corrections, and that conversation entails a whole bunch. It's my welcome aboard, welcome to the Harford County Sheriff's Office family. Please don't make me fire you, because I will fire you in a second for lying. Integrity will get you fired. Things like, if we had it, racial discrimination, sexual harassment, those are going to get you fired too. We haven't had to fire anybody for that. I've had to fire more than I wish for integrity violations.
Yeah.
So, I tell them we can police ourselves. But another thing I tell them is that, hey, there's police chiefs and sheriffs around the country who say, hey, when you're out there doing the right thing, we're going to stand behind you.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's a heck of a lift. Wow, that's not difficult at all.
Right.
But we're going to stand behind our men and women when they're out there and they're trying to do the right thing. They're trying to abide by our policies. They're trying to abide by Maryland law, and it just goes wrong. The best laid plans often go wrong.
Yeah.
We're going to stand behind them. And there's been several examples of that where we have. We're going to, my fight with the Attorney General and reference to shooting up in Forest Hill where an individual lost his life and there was police gunfire. We stood up, and that's the only place in this state since, and I don't want to go down that road again, but where we did our own investigation and we found the flaws that were done in the independent investigation. That's standing behind your men and women, and that hasn't been done anywhere else in the state. So again, we're going to stand behind our men and women if they're out there, they're doing the right thing, or they're trying to do the right thing and it just goes bad. And I tell them all, if you've come here because you're lateraling here, or you're going to become a police officer because you don't care what the policies say, you don't care what the law says, you found the wrong place, because we're going to find you and remove you. Yeah. And that's not the problem. What we have a problem with is people deciding to tell what I describe as little white lies to get out of minor disciplinary issues, and it costs them a career, because once you lie, I can't use you in court.
Can't trust you. Yeah, right.
And I will say, to our civilians' credit, not every, I don't know of any other, I'm sure they're out there, but I don't know of anyone off the top of my head. We hire our civilians the exact same standard. They do a polygraph, they do a background, they do a psych. They are, other than the PT part for the sworn law enforcement and corrections, our civilians are hired at the exact same standard, the exact same background, and have to meet the same requirements. And I think all that together is why we hire the best, and they go out and they do a great job for our citizens, and that shows in the surveys that we've done by an independent survey agency, not just something on a not just a, hey, I found your stolen car. Can you fill out this survey and say what a great job I did? Which is what you get around some jurisdictions.
Leave a Google review.
Yes.
And I think a mark of great leadership too is the fact that rookie or first year deputy does have access to you, and that you want to be connected with that newbie.
Sure.
I think that's awesome.
I can't do their job. I mean, I mad respect for the men and women who go into this profession anywhere in the country today. Between the technology, the body cameras, the mobile data centers in their cars, the radios. The radios when I came out, we had 12 channels, and you had an A/B switch, so you had 24 if you switched to A and B. As I drove around the state with the state police, it's a simple switch.
Yeah.
Now it takes all kinds of digital movement and talk groups, and you can't call it a channel; it's a talk group.
Okay.
It is a high-tech piece of equipment, as so much of what they do. Everything is computerized, everything's digital. The cameras. And our men and women jump into those cars like a fighter cockpit of a fighter plane, and they go out there and just do a great job. That's not unique to the Harford County Sheriff's Office. Our men and women do it great, but that's police officers across this country.
Yeah, that's just the technology part of everything.
Yes,
I mean, you've been in this for a long time. You've seen technology just advance so much so quickly.
Yes,
it's crazy.
Yeah. And I'm a generation that's passed me by. The technology, the Atari 2600 was my technology, and that might be something you can't even relate to.
It was slightly before my time.
Okay.
Slightly. Yeah. With all the weight of responsibility of being the head chief in charge in the county, how do you, as personally, balance this job with your own personal life?
Well, I would like to say I certainly wish I did it better because, I was in better shape. I routinely worked out, jogged. With age, comes the extra pounds. It comes sitting at a computer too long when you should be out exercising. Yeah. I don't know that I do a great job of that. I keep telling my wife, the next week. We'll see.
Keep on pushing that off.
We'll follow up in next year, and we'll see if I've been able to do it.
We should do 75 hard. Have you heard of that one? 75 days straight, 2 workouts a day, eating clean.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I would be happy if I could get 2 of them, man, and then maybe put a third one. But I don't know that I do the best job of that. Now, one of my outlets has become, my Jeep and looking for different Jeep events. The Jeep community is just so great. A bunch of people just with a passion for. There's no vehicle out there that you can do aftermarket stuff to as much.
Yeah, so right.
I was always, when I was younger, I had motorcycles. But I have to say, with the distracted driving, with the phones that we all have nowadays, I'm afraid of 2 wheels. I still have my motorcycle endorsement, but I can't tell you the last time I rode a motorcycle.
Oh, wow.
So the Jeep's the next best thing.
Yeah,
you drop the top, you can take off the doors, and it's safer than being on 2 wheels, but it kind of gives you that thing. So I'll say it's
just cruising on the weekends.
60-year-old, I'll say it's the old guy's motorcycle.
Yeah. So outside of exercise, because it doesn't sound like we're getting there. Right?
I try.
We're trying.
Not
we're
much
trying.
I like.
Do we have a gym in the?
We have a gym in every facility.
Okay.
And I have to. I don't want to even thank them, but every piece of equipment in the jail headquarters here, at the 2 precincts, at the jail, at the headquarters building, are all paid for. Every piece of equipment is paid for with drug asset forfeiture money. That means drug dealers, instead of becoming a speedboat or somebody's motorcycle or somebody's Jeep for a drug dealer, it became a piece of equipment to allow our deputies to stay in better shape. And I got to say, the gym at the Southern, it would be like walking into Snap Fitness.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all the same equipment, and it's just as nice. We were a little more limited on space at the jail, at the Northern, and at headquarters, but they're very nice facilities with nice equipment.
Yeah. That's all. Okay.
And we have a fitness team. Yeah,
I'm calling out to all sheriff's deputies in Harford County. Let's get the boss back in the gym on a more consistent basis.
My excuse is, I gotta say, I could walk down a couple stories. Or I could even ride the elevator down there. So I will say I have used it, and I've used it in recent weeks, but not consistently in recent weeks.
All right. Yeah. We'll let you go on that. So other than exercise, is there a daily habit that you do that helps you perform or be the most successful at what you're doing?
I would just say, that I'm involved in everything, but not micromanaging everything. I think that from a management standpoint is what I would credit with, the perspective that the citizens have of the office being overall very favorable. That's my habit is to wander the halls, get away from my computer for a while, wander the halls, see what's going on, have conversations about different things. And outside of that, and back to the exercise thing, I like to go get a walk in to clear my head.
Okay.
And if it's not a walk, then maybe it's a Jeep drive to just sit and think about things. I will say in the state police days, I usually had commutes to work. My worst one was 98 miles to Easton Barrack from here, each way, 98 miles.
Yeah.
And long drive. But it gives you time to reflect and think about things that are coming, and keep a little notepad and scribble down some things. Yeah. And I think that's with my 5-minute commute here, which I love.
Okay.
That
better than that 90-mile track.
I don't have that time, so I do my best to try to make that time for myself, walking when I can, or in a Jeep drive, just a little bit of quiet time to reflect and think about things.
Yeah, definitely.
Think about how Christy's going to yell at me when I come up with some other concept.
Are there certain people, being the head of everything, are there certain people that you meet with on a daily basis every morning? Hey, we're meeting at 8 a.m. in my office to go over to the day's plan, or?
Sure. Well, generally, every Monday we have the senior commanders, so the majors, the colonel, the warden, and then my directors. Christy's one of the directors at media and public relations.
Thank you, Christy.
Several of the HR, or attorneys, we all get together every Monday morning and kind of cover the weekend and the week before and things that are coming up to keep so that we're all on the same page, make any decisions that have to be made there. Wednesday, this morning, we have our ComStat meeting. So it's a weekly crime meeting. We held it in the basement here at headquarters in Bel Air, but that involves all of our partners, Bel Air, Aberdeen, Hardy Grace, State Police from the highway, State Police from Bel Air, the FBI when they were there today, when they attend, ICE, all of our federal partners when they can attend, juvenile services, parole and probation, state's attorney's office. So we all have a weekly crime meeting where they discuss trends and patterns that we're seeing, like the auto thefts, and plan strategies for how to deploy and how we're going to meet these different challenges, or if there's a large event coming. We have the SIAB event coming this weekend to Ripken Stadium. Okay. So all of those kind of things are discussed. And then we have a command meeting following ComStat, which is the captains and above. So it's keeping the staff informed on everything, that we're all on the same sheet of music, that they know what the sheriff's thoughts are. They have the opportunity to have a conversation with me and get my direction personally, and I have an opportunity to hear from them the perspective that I won't get when you play that game of whispering in your neighbor's ear, and the lieutenant tells the captain tells the major, and the major tells the colonel, and the colonel comes and tells me. He's going to lose something.
Yes.
So it's better when we sit down together, and we do that routinely.
Oh, that's awesome. You alluded a little bit to the community. You guys do a lot with community, with crime prevention.
Yes.
Working within the schools, you have resource officers in the school. Are there any other highlights of community events that you guys do outside of what we've already talked about?
Oh my goodness, I should have brought a list over, because our community policing unit. I've asked for a couple additional bodies for that, and for our traffic unit, and for our school policing unit that haven't been funded, but. The 5 people that are in our community policing unit do the job of 50. It is amazing the amount of things that they do that are routine. We have movie night coming this weekend down at Friendship Park, where we host the community to come out for a movie. There's the Sheriff's Christmas Drive every year, which is going on for 41 or 42 years. I can't even begin the neighborhood watch programs, going out and teaching active shooter drills. All this falls to community policing, and it's just such an amazing list of programs. The Youth Academy that they run, the Citizens Police Academy. When I was with the state police and I was the bear commander down here, I thought at that time that we had a very active role in the community at the state level, working with our Harford County citizens. Being here compared to being there, it's night and day. And that's not to take away from what they do.
Sure.
They don't have as many resources up here in the county as we do. But again, the 5 people that do our community policing things, and they get support from other places, from the cadets, from traffic if needed, or from school policing, or from patrol if needed. But the job that those 5 people do in this community is simply amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you guys definitely have a good presence, but just a positive brand of public relations.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can't argue that, because people say, I'm sorry you have to I'm sure you get nasty notes about this and that. I would even say 20 to 1, I get notes saying what a great job this deputy did, how he or she walked me through the loss of a loved one, or this, the theft of this, or the theft of my car. Yeah, just how professional our people do and what a great job they do. And I think it's reciprocal. Our people get trained well, they do go out there and do a great job, and the citizens show their appreciation for it. I write a lot more thank you for your thank you letters than I have to write back.
That's awesome.
Then we have to write internal affairs things or something like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, let me give you some rapid fire questions.
Sure.
Get you out of here, because you are a busy man.
And I do want to talk, I know she's going to yell at me when we walk out if I don't talk about one of our challenges being recruiting.
Okay.
So we're actively recruiting. In fact, we're Thursday, October 9th from 2 to 6 p.m. We're working with Visit Harford County's tourism. I don't know if this will be out before October 9th.
Maybe.
But we'll be at Harford Mall.
Yeah, it will. Yeah.
Be at Harford Mall. It will be the only opportunity. We've closed law enforcement hiring for recruits. We do that once a year. It's a 30-day window to apply. It's closed. This will be a one-day opportunity to join your name to that list if you're interested in a law enforcement career. We have continuous hiring for corrections. We're currently 12 or 13 short there. We're looking hard. There's a $15,000 hiring incentive in corrections right now, $10,000 for law enforcement, $15,000 for corrections. But if you're interested in a career in law enforcement or corrections, or at the sheriff's office, all the jobs get posted on our website at harfordsheriff.org. And that way I won't get yelled at when we leave here, since you got to let me work that in.
Hey, there you go. Absolutely. Hey, look, if this real estate market doesn't work out, will you take a guy that's turning 50?
Most certainly. Most certainly.
Okay, good, good.
I think our oldest through the law enforcement academy was 58.
Oh, wow.
And I think we have a 60-year-old applicant right now.
Okay.
So the physical standards are a little more demanding for law enforcement than they are for the correctional deputy positions.
Okay.
But
take note, Amy.
Absolutely.
Take note. I don't think she would let me.
I can email over an application when I get back.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hey, need to stay employed.
Rapid fire.
All right, rapid fire. Here we go. Your pick-me-up drink when you're and I'm not talking alcohol here.
Okay.
Yeah, just during the day. Your pick-me-up drink. What you got in there?
Iced coffee.
Iced coffee.
Plain black iced coffee.
From?
Dunkin' Donuts. I like Starbucks.
Okay.
Starbucks is a little more bitter, so 99% of the time it's Dunkin' Donuts, and then 1% of the time it's Starbucks.
There you go, Dunkin' Donuts. You just got a free plug there. Yeah. Now, this is going to be a tough one, and we don't need to get all political about it. Okay. Your go-to restaurant in Harford County.
Ooh.
There's a lot of great places, but let's just narrow it down to one or two. Like, what are you craving these days?
That is tough, and unfortunately, I do like my restaurants. Fortunato Brothers on Route 40 in Edgewood. They're right there. Them and Box Hill have like the best crab cake.
Yeah.
So those, I think Fortunato, you get an extra ounce, and I think they do a 9-ounce instead of an 8-ounce crab cake.
Okay.
So, and just both of those places are terrific. Outside of that, I mean, there's so many. I hate to whittle them down. I gotta say, been to Tutti Fresco, the old Bynum 7-Eleven.
Yep.
Whole different story. When I was 16 years old, I locked my keys in my car on a date there at the Bynum 7-Eleven. So that building has bad memories, but it has delicious Italian food right now.
Yeah.
And the La Toteca. Is that the one up in Rock Spring? It's absolutely outstanding for Mexican food.
Okay. Good. All right. If you weren't in law enforcement, what career would you be in?
I don't know, and I've thought about that before. Funny enough, I had gone in to a military recruiter when I was 18 or 19. First time the state police had turned me down, so I went to a military recruiter. I wanted to be an MP, and for some reason, that recruiter gave me bad information back in the day, saying that as an MP, I wouldn't be allowed to carry a firearm until I was 21, and it didn't sit right, and maybe it's just in God's bigger plan that I went back, applied to state police before, and got again and got hired. I think I would have enjoyed that pathway here, and I absolutely respect the people, men and women who have served our country. But I'm thinking probably teaching. After finishing my master's, me and the gentleman who's now my chief deputy, Bill Davis, we both opened up a private teaching company for communication skills and leadership, the Advanced Leadership Consortium. But there's a law in the books that says only for the sheriff in Harford County that the sheriff can't have a secondary employment outside of sheriff. You can teach so long as it's not more than $2,500 in a year. So we did teach some classes for Hopkins for several years. And I really enjoyed that. It was adult classes, adult learning.
Yeah,
I wasn't brave enough to go into one of the schools, but mad respect for the teachers and what they do.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a very noble calling, and we're all going to be replaced.
Yeah,
and getting these young people ready to take on our roles is so important.
Absolutely. What other than the Jeep?
Yeah.
Other than we know that's probably your number one hobby. What's your number two?
Oh my goodness, I don't know. I have a bad habit with habit. I have an occasional cigar. So that's but it's a relaxation thing for me. But other than that, I'm trying to think. Spending time with the wife, which is 31 years now.
Let's go.
Yeah, and hopefully for another 31 if we're so fortunate to have those years.
I think you're doing good things in your relationship. Yeah.
But she just had knee surgery, so she's recovering from that. And,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, so partial knee replacement. So have I been there as much as I should be? She'd probably say no. I think I've done a good job with it. So hopefully she'll listen to this later.
Where was your last date night?
Last date night was we just went out to Winter's Run for crabs. And talk about another great place. There's several good places in Harford County if you're going to have crabs. My oldest had a friend in from Seattle and had never had steamed crabs before. So if you call it a date, I took my mother-in-law, who's a wonderful lady, and we took our two daughters, who are both grown. So date night consisted of having some company along.
Sure.
I think our last single outing, just one-on-one, was we just did the Jeep Jamboree in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And if you have a Jeep and you have not gone there, you need to make plans.
Is that like the mecca of all Jeep events?
It's the largest one in the country. They say 40,000 Jeeps come into Pigeon Forge. You will sit in traffic. And why this is appealing, if I was in this traffic in Bel Air or in Ocean City, I'd be like pulling what little bit of hair I have out. But when you're sitting with a line of Jeeps for several hours to go 2 miles, it's fun. People are going to be like, man, he has lost it. No, it's fun. People are great. It's just a fun environment. So that was our last date, that little road trip that we did.
That's a good date to have. Yeah. All right, last two questions for you. All right. What's one piece of advice if you're talking to a cadet or a rookie deputy coming into the department? What's the biggest piece of advice that you're going to give him or her as they grow as a leader in the force? Well,
it's funny, 'cause I think I do that on their first day meetings now. And I tell them, make it a goal, make it, it's a job at the end of the day. There's days you're going to come tired, there's days you're going to be waking up on the wrong side of the bed, but make it your overall objective to leave the place better than you found it, whether it's for a day or for a career. Leave the place better than you found it. Do your very best every single day. It's what our citizens deserve, because you won't believe how fast it goes by.
Yeah.
And to say I've been doing this 40 years, it's amazing to me. I can remember, my first day being hired by state police. I can remember my academy graduation back then like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
So you're amazed at how fast it'll go by, and take pictures. Record the memories that are important. I'm not talking about crime scene pictures or work stuff.
Yeah.
But take pictures with your friends and family, because you'll want to look back at them one day, because the years are going to pass by so quickly.
There is a family bond there that just can't be broken. If you could give our listeners, our community, the citizens of Harford County, one message to part with this podcast, what would you say?
Oh, I would say we generally, our crime numbers are very low. We live in a very safe county overall, but it doesn't mean that we are immune from some of the worst things that can happen. And we saw it. We saw it with losing our deputies in 2016. We saw it with the Advanced Granite shooting in 2017. We saw it with the Rite Aid shooting in 2018. We saw it with Jopptown High School last year. We are not immune in any way. Be aware, particularly be aware, no matter what you do. People say, well, I don't even feel like I have to lock my doors. I locked my police car doors on the barrack parking lot in 1986. Don't ever be trusting, let your guard down, be aware of your surroundings. And sadly, we have people, particularly the elderly, succumbing to a lot of these scams.
Oh my gosh.
And to the tunes of thousands and even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Look out for those of us who are on the elder. I did learn at an FBI training this year in Orlando I was invited to that 60 is officially in the elderly category. So having just turned 60, I didn't appreciate that comment because I don't feel quite elderly just yet. But we have people in my generation, the technology, they get the call and they get a message and they click on the wrong thing, and they are giving up life savings. And we have it here, and I read the reports, and it breaks my heart when I see it. So check on your family members. Make sure they're probably not going to listen to the podcast. They're not going to. They're not going to follow us on social media. So take the message to them, to your moms, to your dads, to your grandparents, and say, if you get a call, people are calling saying they're from the sheriff's office, and you have to turn yourself in, or buy gift cards from Amazon for them.
Yeah,
we don't
right?
do that.
Yeah.
And go tell them that if someone asks them for money in any way, shape, form, or fashion, to say no, to hang the phone up, and then to call.
And if you receive any kind of text message that has a link, do not click the link.
Do not click it. Same
don't click
text
it.
Message, email.
Yep.
If you don't know who it's from, you're not expecting it.
Yep.
Don't click it.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I want to acknowledge you, Sheriff Gahler. Again, from the outside looking in, I just see a phenomenal organization being ran, and it takes great leadership, but it also takes a lot of great men and women, as you said before, that just create a safe community. Sure. And that's what it's all about. You're very forward facing on all your social media, and that transparency hasn't gone unnoticed, and really just appreciate everything that your office has done to keep us safe, and to take the time to come talk to some weird guy in a real estate office, that means a lot. So thank you so much for your time.
No, absolutely. I appreciate the invitation in, and it's an honor to serve. And hopefully, good. I say the good Lord, the wife, and the voters' permission.
That's right.
One more term to go.
Absolutely, you're doing a phenomenal job. I couldn't
much.
see why they wouldn't. If people want to connect with the sheriff's office. You kind of sprinkled it in throughout the interview, but let's do it one more time. Sure. How can people connect on social media or any
follow
other
us
places?
on Facebook, Harford County Sheriff's Office. Follow us on Facebook, and you can find the links to the other Instagram, X.
There you go.
The things that we use,
Yep.
along with our website, harfordsheriff.org. So if you want to read. You can listen to our podcast. We do our own podcast.
Into the Sheriff's Spotlight.
Into the Sheriff's Spotlight.
Yes.
So we do a podcast. The last one we did was on the Rachel Morin case. We did a special one. It was an hour and something long, and had the investigators in there. A lot of things. That case obviously captured the nation's, the world's attention.
Yeah.
So we did that. So harfordsheriff.org, and you can follow us there.
And then you have a video series that Christy's kind of put together, I believe, behind the badge.
Working with the college studio up there, Harford TV, Harford, whatever it is.
Okay.
You can click to those links too on our website.
Awesome. Yeah. Please follow them. Also follow us at the Markland Advantage on Facebook, Instagram, or on TikTok at TMA Real Estate. Sheriff Gahler's going to get on TikTok one of these days, and follow us as well. Please share this. This was a great one. This is probably one of the best ones we've shot, and I thank you so much for being a part of it.
Not from an appearance standpoint. Just
you're a very handsome gentleman. All right. Until next time, folks, live your life to the fullest, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Did you like this episode of the TMA Connection? Well, you might want to check this one out right here. Go ahead. Click it.